Room 308. We've been waiting for you.
I heard the bell from room 308, even though I knew the third-floor ward had been empty for a week. My heart felt like it was about to jump out of my chest, but as the nurse on duty, I had to check. Slowly, I opened the door to the dark room, and that's when I saw her. Have you ever imagined how terrifying a hospital corridor feels at midnight? When everyone else is fast asleep, there are people who must stay awake, not only to fight illness, but sometimes to fight fear of something unseen. They are the night shift nurses. A hospital is a place where hope and despair meet, birth, recovery, but also farewell. The energy said to linger within its walls sometimes turns into something that can't be explained by logic. Tonight, we've gathered some of the most terrifying true stories told directly by nurses who stand on the front lines of the midnight silence. These aren't just ordinary ghost stories. These are their real experiences. Heroes who must face terror while carrying out their noble duties in haunted hospitals across Indonesia. Prepare yourselves, because these stories might send chills down your spine.
Whispered shadows.
The first story comes from a young nurse named Maya, who had only been working for a few months at a hospital in West Java. For her, the night shift was truly a mental test. Corridors that were crowded during the day turned into silent, eerie labyrinths at night. That night, Maya was alone at the nurses' station. Her colleague was making rounds to the patient rooms. Around 1 in the morning, the atmosphere began to feel strange. The air suddenly grew heavy and extremely cold. Maya tried to ignore it and focused on finishing her report. Then suddenly, from the dark end of the hallway, she heard the sound of a stretcher being pushed slowly. Squeak, squeak. It was getting closer. Maya looked up, assuming it was her colleague or a janitor. But strangely, the sound stopped right in front of the nurses' station, just outside her line of sight. She waited. No one appeared. Silence. She gathered her courage and called out, "Sir? Ma'am?" No answer. Just an oppressive silence. With an uneasy feeling, she stood up and peeked into the corridor. Empty. No one. No stretcher. Her heart began pounding uncontrollably. She tried convincing herself it was just exhaustion playing tricks on her. She sat back down, but moments later, she heard another sound, this time from the telephone on her desk. Not ringing. Static. Like a broken radio. And within the crackling noise, she heard a soft whisper, a woman's voice, as if in pain. Maya jumped from her chair. She stared at the phone in horror. It was the internal line, connected only to other rooms in the hospital. There was no incoming call. The sound seemed to come from the receiver itself. Her fear peaked when she realized one thing. The whisper sounded exactly like the patient who had died earlier that afternoon. Without thinking twice, Maya ran from the nurses' station, searching for her colleague, breathless. Since that night, she has never dared to work alone again.
Section 2. The next story proves that terror doesn't always come as a sound or shadow. Sometimes it appears real and even talks to you. This is Rendi's experience, a senior nurse at a hospital in Bogor. Rendi was used to night shifts and all their oddities. He thought he had seen everything, until one night changed him forever. That evening, he was making routine rounds. One of his patients was an elderly man in critical condition due to complications. Around 11 at night, Rendi entered the room. Strangely, the man, who had previously been too weak to move, was sitting at the edge of his bed, smiling. "Good evening, nurse," he greeted clearly, his voice sounding much healthier. Randy was surprised but relieved. "Good evening, sir. You can sit up now? Feeling better?" "Much better. I feel light. Thank you for taking care of me," the man replied, still smiling. Randy smiled back. He checked the patient's chart and said, "That's great, sir. Get some rest. Don't move too much." After ensuring everything was fine, Randy continued his rounds. Half an hour later, he returned to the nurse's station. A colleague approached him with a pale face. "Ren, the family of the patient in room 204 has arrived. We need to prepare him." "Prepare him? I thought he was improving. I just saw him sitting and talking." His colleague stared at him in disbelief. "What do you mean? The patient in room 204 passed away an hour ago, before you started your rounds." Randy felt the world stop spinning. The man he had just spoken to, who smiled at him, who thanked him, who was that? Randy would never forget that smile, a farewell smile from someone whose body was no longer alive. Some terrifying stories come together with unexplainable miracles. This one is considered legendary from Dharma Medica Hospital in Tulang Agung. A middle-aged woman named Amina was being treated for severe liver disease. Her eyes and nails were yellow. Doctors said she didn't have much time left. Her family stayed by her side every night, praying constantly, but her condition did not improve until the 7th night. Around 2 in the morning, while her daughter was asleep on the sofa, Amina woke up. A nurse entered the room. She was an older woman, around 55 years old, with a gentle, motherly face. Her movements were calm. She checked the IV, gave medication, and gently stroked Amina's arm. "Be patient, ma'am. You'll recover soon," the nurse whispered. Amina felt an overwhelming sense of peace. This happened every night at exactly 2 a.m., and miraculously, Amina's condition improved drastically. By the 10th day, doctors were shocked. Her liver function showed major improvement. They called it a medical miracle. When Amina asked to thank the nurse who visited her each night, the staff were confused. There was no nurse matching that description, no 2 a.m. schedule. And then Amina added one final detail that froze everyone in the room. She was so kind. She always came from that direction, she said, pointing south. But south from the VIP room did not lead to the nurse's station. It led to one place, the morgue. The last story might be the most chilling. A reminder that in the medical world there is an oath to save lives. But what if that oath is so strong it transcends death? Dewi, a nurse in an old hospital's emergency room in central Java, experienced it firsthand. One night, a massive accident flooded the ER with patients. Among them was a young boy in critical condition. His breathing was fading, oxygen saturation dropping fast. They attempted intubation. It failed. Panic set in. The boy could stop breathing at any second. Dewi prayed silently. Suddenly, she felt a piercing cold at her back. From the corner of her eye, she saw a woman standing beside her. The woman wore an old-style nurse uniform, white with a traditional nurse's cap. Her face wasn't clear, but her presence felt calm. Before Dewi could speak, the figure moved. A cold hand touched her shoulder, as if saying, "Stay calm." Then, with astonishing precision, the figure assisted with the equipment. Within seconds, the airway was secured. The monitor showed rising oxygen levels. The boy stabilized. He survived. When Dewi turned to thank the nurse who had helped them, she was gone. "Doctor, did you see the nurse who helped us?" Dewi asked. The young doctor looked confused.
"Nurse, it was just the two of us." That's when Dewi realized they hadn't been helped by the living. In the hospital lobby, there was a black and white photograph of the hospital's founding nurses, and in the front row stood a woman with the exact same uniform, the same calm face. Perhaps a nurse's oath truly never dies. Silent corridors, unexplained sounds, figures from beyond. This is just a glimpse of what night shift nurses face. They don't only battle disease, they battle fear. Every bell they answer, every step they take in the dark corridor, they stand as witnesses to the mysteries where life and death coexist. What do you think? Have you ever experienced something similar? Or do you know someone who faced terror during a night shift? Share your story in the comments. Maybe we'll realize we're not alone. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss our next chilling story. Thank you for watching. Stay alert and see you in the next video.
Whispered shadows.